Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. Um, Welcome to another market open. Start of a new week. I kind of lost my voice this weekend as I was in Vegas partying with the Clash holders. But you know what? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how this is a big FOMC meeting or a big FOMC week, how this meeting is going to be big, and how we Bitcoin and crypto investors should prepare, what to expect. Let's talk about it. All right, let's do it, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Starting out today, starting out a week, brand new week, second week of December. The first week was kind of mixed. We had a volatile last week. This week could be more volatile, but in a good way. Let's see, but we're starting out above 90, which is good. And the US market is starting out mixed, green with NASDAQ. Dow, not so much, but MicroStrategy is up. So that's always good. And then tech, like Nvidia and AMD's up, Robinhood's up, so good to start the week. However, the big thing, of course, is the FOMC meeting, which is coming up on Wednesday. Now, this meeting, well, actually the meeting starts today. I should say the press conference is tomorrow, and the results of the meeting is going to be published tomorrow. This FOMC press conference, we already know that Wall Street already baked in that Powell and the rest of the governors and presidents are going to be cutting. So that's probably what Powell's going to say. But I think it's more important, everyone's looking forward to what is going to happen in 2026 at this point. But as of right now, there's a 90% chance. So almost everyone, the consensus is we will get that cut, 25 basis point cut. Are we going to get a 51? No. But what about January? There's another FOMC meeting. What about March? Another FOMC meeting. There are a lot in 2026, right? So what is the tone going to be? Is Powell go set and continue with a hawkish tone, or is he go flip to dovish? Because many of the other Fed presidents have spoken recently have all become dovish. They're actually looking at more cuts or talking about having more cuts. So I think that's what everyone's going to be looking for, right? That dovish tone from Powell. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does up to a point because Powell will be gone, by Q2 of next year. He will be replaced with someone. But still, while he's here, he's still kind of in charge, So that is definitely going to set a tone. Can make this week very volatile in a good way, because if that dovish language comes out, well, it's going to be very, very good. In the meantime, we're also seeing the Fed buy back or do a lot of buys of debt every month. What does that mean? Well, we talked about how quantitative tightening officially ended last week. This is part of it. So they're spending money too. And whenever you have a lot of liquidity, like the Fed buying debt, basically they're printing money, issuing money. Whenever that happens and you have rate cuts, that's when there's a lot of liquidity. And when you have liquidity moments, Bitcoin and risk-on assets move sharply higher. That's usually what happens, right? So starting to line up. We're building up this momentum once again. It's the second week of December. We still have 3 more weeks to make some incredible moves. And of course, I don't think it's over. I think we're going to see incredible moves in 2026 as well. And we're going to keep on going. Let's see. Let's see what happens after FOMC meeting. In the meantime, what else is there? Well, as for ETF inflows, Bitcoin on Friday had a small inflow of 55 million. Ethereum had a small outflow of 75 million, only from BlackRock. And Solana had a small inflow of 15.7 million. So kind of mixed, not the greatest, but it still shows that Wall Street kind of flip-flopping from day to day, just like retail investors, right? That's kind of to be expected. A lot of times, people, again, a lot of people think that, Wall Street is just like one group, right? Now, there's many groups, and there are some lettuce hands among those groups too. That's why you see right now a lot of this flip-flopping. One day we have red, one day we have green, one day, like with the ETFs. But when the momentum comes back, and it will, these ETFs are going to be having massive inflows, just like previous times we have seen. We actually have seen, even with Bitcoin ETFs, we have seen massive outflows, especially earlier this year between December and April. And then we had massive, massive inflows that kind of made up for it. So, it's something that we have seen before. And unfortunately, that also makes Bitcoin coupled with like NASDAQ and S&P 500 more so than ever before because of the ETFs, right? It makes a lot of sense. All right. Outside of that, well, we still have great fundamentals. Harvard University, once upon a time, said that Bitcoin's more likely to go back to $100 or $1,000 than go to $100,000. They didn't believe. And now they have more Bitcoin and Bitcoin ETFs in their portfolio than gold. So they became believers. And we're seeing that shift every day, really. Every week, I have new articles show you guys about major banks, institutions, countries. They're all doing 180, just like Harvard. So this is part of the growing fundamentals, right? Last week we had, of course, big banks announced, like Vanguard, Bank of America. They came over, and now we have like countries. Argentina, let's go lift their 3-year crypto ban as the central bank allowed banks to offer Bitcoin services. So, part of the growing fundamentals. And of course, we still have Saylor leading the way. There's a Bitcoin conference right now, Bitcoin Mena in Abu Dhabi right now. And Saylor is there, of course. And Saylor was just at the Binance one. I guess they're all around the same. Around the same time. But Saylor just said that he's been talking. He's met with every sovereign wealth fund in the Middle East. He's been talking to investors, whales. Everyone wants to talk to him about Bitcoin, Bitcoin strategy, strategy in general. Okay, so are these guys really worried about the recent price action or the FUD? No. These guys aren't in for long term. Obviously, they have billions upon billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions, right? They're trying to prepare for the future. And they're going to look heavily or invest heavily into the greatest asset that we have, which is Bitcoin. All right. And strategy itself acquired nearly $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, 10,624, and now they have 660,624 Bitcoin. Roughly 50 billion, cost average 74,700. So Saylor obviously Still leading the way. No Bitcoin treasury company is anywhere close. Anywhere close. But he is showing how a Bitcoin treasury should be done, basically. What else? What else? Well, as for some charts, okay, this is showing that people are coming back. Let me remove my camera. So if you look at this, the bid-ask ratio has flipped to a positive side. And we normally don't see this unless we have a bottom. The last time this happened was, again, the local bottom of March, April. And we're looking at a very similar case right now. That means there are smart investors, okay, that are buying. And this is showing that we're looking very, very similar to what happened earlier this year when we fell tremendously from December all the way down to about April. We found our footing, and then we recovered quickly and made a new high. It looks very, very similar. And this is showing kind of the same thing, right? We haven't had that huge run yet. And the last few times this happened was when actually the Russell 2000 broke out. Again, why did the Russell 2000 in previous times break out? Probably because of some of the stuff I've been talking about, like liquidity, economic, not economic, monetary easing. Some of these times where liquidity and money was flowing. It's all correlated. It's all coming too. And another chart, the last one I'll show you, is simply how oversold Bitcoin is. It's really quite simple. You look at the weekly again. The weekly is at a low point, like a really, really low point, just like back in April and back in September of last year, and the low points of crypto winter. We're at the same exact mark. Actually, we're a little bit lower than some of those marks, right? It's just a matter of waiting it out, waiting for the market to come back, and it will. It always does, right? Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes you gotta wait a long time, longer than you even expected, but we always recover. Last few things, I saw Vitalik with Ethereum is coming out with a new proposal where people could pre-buy ETH fees in case they need to do large volume, right? It's a unique concept, but I don't know if that's actually really good. Why would you need to pre-buy fees? How about just make the fees low enough you don't have to pre-buy? Well, I mean, they recently had a hard fork to help with that, but they're still very far off from making fees really, really low when it's congestion. But you know what? He's doing what he can right now. It's a tough situation. It's very tough. But you still have a lot of accumulators. Obviously, Tom Lee's Bitminer and others that are still loading up on ETH. That's definitely going to help them as we recover. Ripple also secured a $500 million investment. So this gives them a $40 billion valuation. Awesome. Awesome. Good for them. And SEC is ending its 2-year investigation into Ondo. And Ondo is a big RWA player, one of the biggest in the space. And this is no surprise because of how more pro-crypto the SEC is these days. So it does not surprise me. I'm actually surprised that's still ongoing right now. All right, that is pretty much it. Let's see. MicroStrategy is still holding green. Yep. It's looking good so far. All right. Let's do some Q&A. Sorry, I had to answer some important call. The Clash party was great. Everyone that attended had a great time. We had a really good turnout. We had a pre-dinner for the T1 holders and amazing food, good conversations. And then we had the party. And then we had, it was a really nice space in the House of Blues in Mandalay Bay. Again, everyone enjoyed it. Lots of pictures you'll see in Discord. We also showcased Clash picks. And unfortunately, it was too much traffic and kind of brought things down for about an hour. But afterwards, everyone got their prediction in. And we'll have to reveal the winner or the winners today if I have time. But it was good all around. It was really good all around. And I lost my voice because of the party. Relic says, do you think MicroStrategy will ever buy XRP and ETH? If there is one alternative to Bitcoin, it would be ETH, but I don't think he'll do it. It's too late for him to do that. He's all in on Bitcoin. And that would be a hard pivot if he actually did say he's going to start accumulating something else like ETH. So I don't think that's going to happen. Casper, I think there's some confusion. Okay. People on Zoom can participate, but the number of people at the Vegas event is actually the physical presence of people at the Vegas event. So I don't know why that was a confusion point. So, the prediction was for the number of attendees at the Vegas event, not including Zoom. But Zoom people were, of course, able to make the prediction as well. So I don't know if that clears things up because there's like some confusion about that. We also handed out our watches to the T1 people and T2 people that showed up, and the watches look amazing. They look absolutely amazing. Everyone's wearing it. I got my gold one. That was really good. And we auctioned off a framed Lego masterpiece of Bitcoin too, and raised a good amount of money for the treasury as well. Perry says, I bought my alt at rock bottom. Then I found out rock bottom had a basement. That shows me you didn't buy rock bottom. And you just need to DCA more. Will I draw over T3 watches anytime soon? Yes, but there's a lot of catching up, a lot of stuff that I have to get ready first, but that is in the works. Real Madrid, those are just charts, okay? Obviously, the fundamentals are different, macro conditions are different, a lot of things, geopolitically, you know, things are different. But when you look at charts and you look at oversold levels, you look at like signals like a bullish cross or a death cross or certain Fibonacci levels, no matter what, there's correlations in some way. So that's why there's comparisons. The saying, history doesn't repeat, but it tends to rhyme. That's how it rhymes. Yeah, Clash Pigs is going to be like the major thing that's going to drive Clash forward. Um, and it's designed to be as simple as possible. Unfortunately, the demo was kind of like disrupted by, the massive volume. But once we're probably able to release the demo this week for public, or at least for Discord members, and I think people will really see how easy it is to use and how easy it is to understand. That's the biggest selling point, is that it's going to be like the easiest prediction market platform there is. And I think that's going to make a big difference because most normies have no clue how to use Polymarket or anything else. Most normies don't even have a clue how to use a wallet, let alone understand all the intricacies from like a Polymarket. And we're going to change that. We're going to make it super, super simple. MicroStrategy's up slightly, and Coinbase up slightly. Those are good. Robinhood up slightly, even though they fell on Friday for no reason. Nvidia is still having a hard time coming back. All the fun around Nvidia, eventually it's going to dissipate, and then it's going to get ready to rock again. But at least it's holding right where it is, around the 180s. And Broadcom made a new high today, so that's good. Today is kind of a slow, mixed day because certainly turnaround, I think it might be volatile after the FOMC meeting. It really depends on what Powell says. The cut is guaranteed basically, but is he going to have more of a dovish tone for 2026 or not? I guess this came from the raise that he had in Europe. Man, imagine if he bought 10,000 Bitcoin on Coinbase Spot. You know, yeah. The biggest thing, Warren, is he'll be out. I think his term ends in May, so we'll have to live through another 4 FOMC meetings, and then he's finally gone. Are you worried that Saylor will sell Bitcoin someday? No. Only if he is forced to. And right now, it seems like he is not. Right? Am I worried that he'll voluntarily sell? No. Am I worried that he will be forced to sell at some point? Well, he is playing a game, right? Right now, all the yield for all these preferred shares companies, the dividends, that depends on growth of Bitcoin and fundraising and growth of the stock itself, right? And most of the bets are placed really, or the expiration of those bets, I should say, are in 2027, 2028, 2029, and 30. So I don't think so. The worst case scenario is if Bitcoin stays where it's at for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and he no longer has the ability to raise more money, then maybe he would have to be forced to sell. But we're far off from that point. That's like the worst case scenario. I noticed in YouTube chat, they have an option where you could switch to members only live stream. You could do it on the fly now. I didn't know that they added that. I wouldn't do that. That would not be fun. Missouri passed legislation to entirely eliminate crypto gains tax for individuals. I think that's state though. Okay, good for Missouri, but that's not federal. So even if you save on that Missouri state tax, it's not gonna be for federal. Federal still requires you to pay taxes. I'm paying taxes suck. No one likes to pay taxes. Okay, but there are legal loopholes that you can employ. So rather than avoid it, rather than hide it, the best thing is to pay it, but find ways to deduct. That's the best. I feel like there are a lot of people that are like trying very desperately to hide things. Eventually, if you're going to cash out, there's a trail. So you really can't hide it forever. And it's better to pay your taxes now than later when things are much higher. That's kind of my thinking there. Thoughts on Monad? I don't have any thoughts on Monad. I think there are too many L1s already. So adding another one is not going to change things. And will dilute the space probably even more. What do I think the new Toyota GR GT supercar? It looks great and it sounds great. A little underpowered. It's like 650 horsepower. A V8 twin turbo V8 hybrid. I think this day and age they could do better. Go above 700 if they wanted to easily. It really depends on the price. It looks amazing. Inside, depending on how much they charge, inside doesn't look amazing. Like, I don't know. I feel like the inside is too much of a copy of the current, like, interiors of Toyotas. So I don't know. It depends on how much they sell it for. If they sell that car for like 150, it'll be totally worth it. If they sell that car for 200 or 250 plus, which there may be a chance they do that because they want to make it like into a halo car to compete with Porsche 911s and stuff, then it's not gonna be worth it because then a ZR1 is still gonna be better. So I don't know. I guess it really depends on how much they price it at. I'm assuming they're gonna price it right around like 150 because the LC500 was around 100 and that should be above it. So yeah. But if it's anywhere like if they price it at like 175, 200, then I don't think it's worth it. It's not gonna be faster than 911 Turbo or Turbo S. Nowhere close. 911 Turbo S is like 0 to 60 like under 2 seconds now. And it's above 700 horsepower. So that is not gonna be nearly as fast as that. I'm guessing 0 to 60 on that car will probably be like more like 3.2 seconds, something like that. It's not much lighter. They're aiming for like a 3,900 pound weight. So it's not like the cars of before where it was like 3,200 pounds, 3,100 pounds. No, you're talking about still close to 4,000 pounds. Now, if they make a very limited run and they say that it's going to be like super limited, like the LFA, and then it could become a collector's car, and then it could be worth it to buy and just hold. But if it's going to be a mass-produced car, that, you know, I don't know. I just don't see there's a big market for it, and it's not manual too. If they gave, if they put in like a manual option, that'd be awesome. But Toyota doesn't. They're not gonna do that. I think 650 horsepower with 600 something pound feet of torque for normal daily, of course, is not underpowered, right? But you got to go by today's standards. A 911 is around there, but 911s are different. The Porsches are way faster than they should be, and I think that because they have brilliant transmissions and brilliant all-wheel drive systems. Um, but you compare it to everything else that's out. I mean, just look at a Z06, and then you look at a ZR1. For the price points, they're going to give you a lot more bang for a buck, and arguably they still look better and probably performs better on the track. So you got to compare the competition. I don't even really pay attention to McLarens, but yeah, McLarens are pretty darn fast too. But I mean, McLarens are more. I doubt it. If Toyota prices that GR GT at 200 or 225, then no one's gonna buy it. They just they just need to price it right. That's all that matters. Honey Mustard, I don't know where you're getting your numbers from. It is not more powerful than the 911 Turbo S, which now has over 700 horsepower. And it certainly does not have more power than 296 GDB, which has over 800 horsepower. So I don't know where you're getting your numbers from. Who cares? No one looks at horsepower and torque combined. That's irrelevant. You just look at horsepower or torque, and then you look at 0 to 60 and quarter mile, right? They haven't published 0 to 60 or quarter mile. If those numbers come out amazingly good, then great. Even the new M5 is 700 plus horsepower, right? But it's heavy. All right, guys, that is it. I'm gonna rest my voice. I need to recover from the weekend. Well, prepare for a big FOMC week. Obviously, as you can see here, 90% chance of a rate cut. But how will Powell, how will he talk about 2026? Dovish, hopefully, or he will continue his hawkish tone, which is something no one wants, right? All right, guys, smash a like, subscribe to the channel, hang in there. Fundamentals are still great. So don't get fudded out. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.